What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. Hope everybody's doing good. I hope all of you survived this heat wave that's currently going on, especially most of the LA people. I'm sure it's hot everywhere else in the world, but you know, we're feeling it out here this weekend. But you know what's also been hot? The movie theaters. Not in temperature-wise, but in a good way, just because a sequel, I want to say, I don't know if it was desired or not by people, but I'm happy to say it was actually quite enjoyable. We are talking about the latest Tim Burton movie, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, or Beetlejuice 2, however you want to look at it, essentially. This is non-spoiler reviews, so if you do happen to like this video, give us a thumbs up. Please ring the bell, and of course subscribe. We do appreciate you all for that, all tuning into our videos and stuff. It's much appreciated. So this one takes place because I think the first one came out in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly what year, and I apologize for that. But basically, it is a direct sequel to the original one. No reboot, none of that nonsense. In which Winona Ryder's character, Lydia, is, you know, an adult with her own daughter. They're dealing with a family loss, so they have to go back to Winter River, which I didn't really know the name of the town until I saw the trailer, and then rewatching the first one, I was like, oh, it's called Winter River, because, you know, I never really picked up on that. But and she is still constantly haunted by the memory of Beetlejuice, who is back in action as well, starring Michael Keaton. We also got Catherine O'Hara returning as Delia Dietz, who is her stepmom. Jenna Ortega joins us now as her daughter Astrid Dietz, or I forgot what Astrid's last name was. They just call her Astrid, and that's pretty much it. Oh, also we had one actor that's never worked with Tim Burton, I don't believe, before, which is Monica Bellucci, which was very interesting. And yeah, we just see his pizzazz come back with his design and his little, you know, tone and stuff like that. So this is one of those movies I was like, I don't know how it's gonna be, because, you know, Tim Burton's been on an interesting run filmography wise. Like, we had Dumbo in 2019, beginning of 2020-ish, and that was just okay. But then we had Wednesday come out 2 years ago on Netflix, which, not a movie, but still a really good show, actually, you know, for with your teenager and adult. I think it's good for all ages, really. And I can't think of any other movie he's done really recently, so that's beyond me. But Bern, what did you happen to think of this sequel to, like, probably one of the most popular movies of pop culture, as well as, like, probably his most well-known movie?
Yeah, I mean, like, I know there's a lot of this movie is held in high regard by a lot of people. A lot of people's probably their favorite Tim Burton movie, you know, from back in the day, especially. Never was one of my favorites, but I still enjoyed it when I was younger. You know, I'm a little bit more impartial to, I would say Big Fish is probably my favorite Tim Burton movie. I don't think it's a common pick, but that one's the one that I really enjoyed the most. So yeah, you know, hearing that, you know, all these years later they were going to do a legacy sequel to that movie, but, you know, everybody was sort of like back that was involved in the first one. It's like, okay, this is kind of cool. It can go either way in terms of, you know, like how it would go, really. Because, yeah, Tim Burton, as of late, hasn't had as many hits as he has in the past, but that's not to say all of his stuff had been misses by any means. It's just they're just haven't been up to that high standard that they were back in the, like, I would say the 80s and 90s. So for this one, I was looking forward to it decently. You know, not really like one of my most anticipated of the year, but I came away enjoying it. You know, I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, I thought it recaptured that spirit from the first movie. You know, bringing it all the way, you know, all these years later. Michael Keaton hasn't really lost a step, even though, yes, he's significantly older, but he still has that sort of energy and brings that nasty goofiness to Beetlejuice that was so much fun back in '88. So yeah, I mean, I think he did a really good job of it. And you know, the other returning characters, like you mentioned, Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder, I thought they were both, you know, slipped right back into those roles and had a lot of fun with it. It's fun to see people rediscovering Catherine O'Hara now. You know, she's had a bit of a resurgence, you know, since Schitt's Creek, and, you know, and now in this movie, and continuing on with The Last of Us, you know, coming up next year. So she's on a bit of a run, and I'm happy for her for that. Almost like Jennifer Coolidge was also sort of seen a little bit of a resurgence, you know, from, like, you know, being a big thing in the 90s and now, rediscovered by a lot of people. So yeah, she did great. But for me, the biggest surprises were the newcomers to the movie, or to this series now, I guess, with Justin Theroux's character and Willem Dafoe's character. I thought they both had a lot of fun in their roles, and a lot of the parts that I laughed had to do with their characters. They were just really silly and goofy and fun. And I will say this about the movie, that it was really fun and funny throughout. As much as the story itself and the narrative itself kind of felt like it got a little bit lost along the way. Seems like there was like two ideas for a movie here, and they couldn't decide which one to go with, so they just did both of them, and neither came to like a really satisfying resolution in that sense, where it didn't feel like proper time was paid to each of them. I think it's the characters here that really hold it down, and the comedic beats that they hit, and they all do so well with. So yeah, it's a weak story, but lifted up by a lot of the characters and the character stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, one could even make a point that there almost is no like this story really, because like kind of like you said, it was a bit of a there was a decent amount they tried to cram, mostly in the middle part, and it was like, yeah, I think it was one of those things they're trying to do too much for the characters. I would say specifically Astrid and Lydia. They're just trying to almost do two different things, and also Beetlejuice. So it was just a lot going on. But I do agree with you. I think the actors really held it up. I think the ones that held it down for me the most were Jen Ortega, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, and Michael Keaton. Basically, the OGs and then the newcomer. I think they all just had some great moments in this, just great acting in general. And then at first, when I did first see it, Justin Theroux was just okay. He was very cringy with his character and stuff like that. But Tim Burton has also kind of that classic Hollywood style of just like, all his movies are pretty consistent with the way characters are, like side characters and stuff like that. Like no one is ever truly normal in these movies, and that's just his trademark. So the one I thought Monica Bellucci, she looked great. Basically, I think aside from the characters, the other thing I really appreciated was just the aesthetic and the design for everything. Visually, it was just wow. I think this is one of his best productions he's done. So that's what really got me the most. And of course, with this movie, one of my favorite and scariest things from the first one was the sandworms. So get to seeing that modernized with, up to date claymation and stuff was just like, oh my god, like it was very what's the word I'm looking for? Not oh my god, I can't think right now. It just brought me back to the good old days of that. So, with all that being said, with a weak storyline but great characters and acting and then just design, I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. By no way is this a bad sequel or a bad movie. It's not as good as like Top Gun Maverick or Avatar: Way of Water or stuff like that have graced our presence the last few years. But by no means it's not bad. Like if you watch both, I don't think there's any shame in it. And if you don't feel like watching this one, you still have the original one to rely on. So yeah, 3 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I mean those technical aspects definitely like push it into the side of being better than worse for sure. I mean, like you said, the cinematography, the set design, the costume design is all very Burton. In a way only a Burton movie can be, with its gothic, weird creepiness, and fun. It's like it all just works so well. It's that aesthetic that he's just sort of, that's his brand, and it's in full display here. So I'm glad that they continued that, and they nailed it all these years later again for the specific Beetlejuice like universe. They did so well with it. Yeah, I can't praise it enough. All of that aspect was just so cool and fun to look at while watching the movie, and enjoying the fun things that the characters were doing. Yeah, I felt I honestly I really felt bad for Monica Bellucci. Her character is introduced in such a fun and interesting way, and she's such, again, like a striking presence in acting, and I just felt like this movie just completely wasted her. So that was a bit disappointing to me as well, but not any of her fault. It was just, again, the movie was just trying to juggle way too many things. But yeah, when it comes to the aesthetics, the again the goofiness of the characters and the actors really selling 100% into that hammy, wacky nature of it, it was still a fun time at the end of the day. So yeah, like you said, not really one of those upper echelon legacy sequels, but one that is still feels like it's justified in being made, honestly, and didn't feel like it ruined the legacy of the original Beetlejuice movie. I mean, again, that's coming from a fan who is not the biggest Beetlejuice, Tim Burton person on that side. I like his other stuff a little bit more, but for me, this one kind of worked. So yeah, it's a 3 out of 5 for me as well.
Yeah, that's very fair. Like I love Tim Burton stuff. I'm not like a huge Tim Burton fan, but yeah, I think this is definitely a good movie to watch. Very fun movie, especially during a heat wave where it's like you're just going for some AC and some good snacks and stuff. So, yeah, I think both Burn and I definitely recommend it. And if you don't see it, no big deal. We still got the original one. So for those of you who did happen to catch it, feel free to let us know in the comments what you guys thought of it. We really appreciate all the dialogue we have going on. And we are getting close to the end of the year, so movies are definitely going to be, we're definitely going to start seeing some award contenders coming up. But until next time, everyone, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.